Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Inept General with some Total War Warhammer 2 news. So yesterday there was an interview after Creative Assembly's presentation. I actually happened to miss this yesterday, which is why I've backdated this video, because it's not technically news from today, technically news from yesterday, but there was an interview with Al Bickham from Creative Assembly with some live show at E3 where we went through Mazdamundi's upgrade tree. So let's have a talk about how Mazdamundi will upgrade. Now, for those of you who are maybe new to my channel, who maybe don't have a clue who Mazdamundi is, check the top right hand corner now for my Mazdamundi lore video, or check the description below if you want to check it out after this video is played through. But let's go through it, because frankly, I'm not only disappointed, I'm also pissed off. A combination of the two. So let's have a look at it. So here's Mazdamundi on Slack, looking very nice, a lot of gold, a lot of bling. He has pimped up his Stegodon, they look good, fair enough. Mazdamundi looks like he's having a fun old time. Moving on, let's get to the other stuff. So here's Mazdamundi's upgrade tree. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, for those of you who don't know who Mazdamundi is probably the most powerful living magic user in the Total War Warhammer world, or even the Warhammer world, the original Warhammer world. Now, in previous games, in Total War Warhammer 1, when you had access to a lore of magic on the tabletop, they tended to give you access to all the laws of all the spells in that lore of magic for you to be able to upgrade to. We saw this with Manfred, we saw this with almost every magic user in the game, and for the most part they were fairly accurate until it came to later on things like the Fey Enchantress for Bretonnia, who has access to different laws of magic, and so a vast array of different spells she technically has access to. Now, understandably, because Mazdamundi has access to almost every lore of magic in the Warhammer world, in terms of all of the laws of magic taught in the schools of magic in the Empire, as well as High Elf, High Magic, that's a lot of upgrade space to use up. So we knew going in that inevitably they'd whittle it down a little bit into like giving you certain spells to select. Now, I thought they'd give you spells from each lore of magic, but that's not what they did. They kind of just picked a couple for you. So let's have a look at what we've got here on Mazdamundi's upgrade tree. So looking at the first row is his unique items and his unique skills, as we've seen before in Total War Warhammer 1. Second row seems to be a variety of magic boosting skills, and then the last two are seemingly unique spells to Mazdamundi. We only got to see what Ruination of Cities does, but we'll pick that one up later on in this video. But just bear that in mind. And then there's this second level, which again looks like a series of spells, one of which seems to be some kind of healing ability. But as far as his magic itself goes, all we have really are the Rolling Skies, which is a boost to Lore of Heaven's magic, I think it was, in the original Total War Warhammer. Apotheosis, which I'm assuming is some kind of healing with the little plus there. Net of Amontok, Curse of the Midnight Wind, Shield of Safari, Exorcism, Arcane Unforging, and Comet of Cassandora. Now, I'm going to flick between these two screens. I hope you guys don't mind. Now, in previous videos, if you haven't seen it, I did discuss how magic was slightly changing in terms of the upgrading in Total War Warhammer 2. You may notice that each spell has 3 upgrade slots next to it, as opposed to the 2 it had in the original game. That's because now the first slot will be you getting the spell. The second slot is you being able to cast the overcast version of the spell, which for those of you who don't know is effectively a boost to the spell, making it more powerful or giving it more range. It has different effects depending on what the spell is. And the third is just lowering the cost of the spell in terms of mana, or the Winds of Magic as it's called in the Total War series. So that's why there are 3 instead of 2. Now, I just don't like the lack of selection here. I don't like that they don't give you the choice of what you want as spells from the different laws of magic that Mazdamundi technically has access to. I thought they'd make him a bit more customizable in terms of where you wanted to take him on magically. They're not. You only get this one row, and it's not like they're using up all the space. Look, there's a row here. I'm going to get my mouse out. You could have fit another row of magic in there. Another 2 rows of magic in here. What? Why not just use the space? Give us more spells. Just make him more selectable. Make us be able to build the Mazdamundi we want to build of the spells we want. I really don't understand why they've narrowed it down like this. It seems like lunacy. It just gripes me. It just gripes me that you don't get the choice of the spells you want, and they've just given you this very small selection of spells to upgrade to for the most powerful user in the game, with access to probably the most varied, tied with the most varied amount of spells one can get for a character in the Warhammer universe. So I'm just a little bit baffled. I just don't get it. It wouldn't have been hard to add. Just like make up a couple more hybrid chains like the one we have here of magic, like the one we have up here. Just make up a couple more of them. Maybe one with Law of Life and one with the Bright Law, which is the fire magic, and just, you know, give us a bit of variety rather than just light and heavens. That just seems to nail it down unnecessarily. I don't know why you'd limit yourself to those 2 laws of magic for giving Mazdamundi spells. Anyway, I'm going to probably throw my microphone across the room if I continue to think about it, but there we go. A disappointing blow we had yesterday, but I only actually saw it today, I'll be completely honest with you guys. So, disappointing blow, but maybe let's just move on and see what else we've got with Mazdamundi. So let's look through the middle column. So this is very much the military buff column. A lot of stuff we've probably seen before, if I'm honest. Inspiring Presence, we know that's a leadership boost. Proud Warrior, I imagine it is a boost to your Saurus. Skirmishers, boost to damage, missile ammo, we've seen that before. Swift Strider, probably a boost to movement speed for your army, or a boost to the rate at which you tire. Actually, I think it's the rate at which you tire, not movement speed. And Sacred Guardian, which will probably be a melee defense boost. Hunt Leader, damage boost for, not sure who that would be for. And Beast Driver, a charge bonus. Again, we're not sure on the exact units that will be for. Now, looking down the bottom, Iron Disciplinarian. Fervent, I imagine, is one that fights against Chaos. Bonded Servant, I can't remember what that does, but that's been in Total War Warhammer 1. So has Iron Disciplinarian. So has Ancient Cunning. Draft Master, I think, is an experience boost, it will be. So let's move along the bottom row. Lightning Strike, we've seen. Geomantic Sustenance. We haven't seen that before, but that's got something to do with saving cash somehow. Gifts of the Jungle is regen for your army, how quickly they recover from lost units and stuff. And Wary, I should know what that icon means, but I can't remember for the life of me just off the top of my head at the moment. But there we go. And those are the laws. Let's have a look at the top row for Mazdamundi, shall we? Oh, and this is the last one over here, Slan Force Field. We'll see what that does in a little bit. But here we go. Top one, the Sunburst Standard of Hexoatl. So plus 12 missile parry, plus 9 defense, melee defense. That's pretty good. A nice little aura buff, about 40 meters around you. Pretty good size. Alright, not bad for a magical ability. Let's move along. The Cobra Mace of Mazdamundi. Post-battle chance of stealing magic item plus 18%. That's pretty great. Melee attack plus 5. Weapon strength plus 6. Enables poison damage. That's alright. Now let's have a look at his stats on the left-hand side. Leadership, speed's pretty low. Leadership, melee attack 20, melee defense 26. Again, a magic user. Attacking's not necessarily a strength. Weapon strength 300. Wow, okay, if he does hit you, he'll pack a punch. So that's interesting. And then we've got Zlak, his mounted Stegodon. And that is giving him a huge boost to his armor, huge boost to his speed. Minor boost to melee attack, melee defense, weapon strength. Nothing went down, I don't think. And a charge bonus. Yeah, and a big boost to weapon strength as well. So yeah, get Zlak. It will give Mazdamundi a great time. And then Telekinesis is an anti-missile defense. And Protection of the Old Ones, some magic resistance. And then we had a look at this spell here, which is a unique spell to Mazdamundi, which looks like a wind spell. 7 seconds, across the ground. The Lord unleashes a force of seismic power like no other, causing the tectonic plates themselves to shift and buckle at his behest. Again, kind of thematic with some of the stuff Mazdamundi has done. He's been known several times in the lore to open up vast chasms and swallowing entire armies. Now, I am actually quite curious as to what that might look like if it actually undulates the terrain itself, which would be an amazing effect. But I imagine it'll just look like a wave of wind, like brushing over them. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's Ruination of Cities. And then we jumped across over here to the Slan Force Field, which is a ward save for an area, 15 seconds, 150 meters, which is pretty big, plus 8 leadership, plus 44 magic resistance. But what percentage is the ward save? The resilience of the old ones is channeled into an energy barrier that protects its users from the full brunt of magical attacks against them. Oh, is it just a magical resistance save? Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. All right, well, some magical resistance in the leadership. That doesn't seem great for something at the very end of an upgrade tree. But there we go. And then we had Renowned and Feared. Enemy hero action success chance -10, -8% upkeep for all units. That's pretty good. Campaign movement +5, +1 for all unit recruits. That's actually worth getting at the end of the bottom line. But I think that about, summed it up for Mazdamundi, guys. I'm very, very disappointed at his limitations in terms of his magical options. I can't stress that enough. I think CA have made a big mistake in terms of how interesting they could have made this character. And the fact that Manfred, bloody Manfred, is still the only one with 2 full laws of magic is just baffling. Mazdamundi should have more magical options than Manfred. Get up in arms, guys. Be with me on this train. Mazdamundi needs more spells. Let's do it. As always, guys, huge thank you for watching. Do drop a like. Do subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. And I look forward to catching you all on the next one.